The stars were quiet that night. The vast galaxy stretched endlessly, a sea of distant lights and silent planets. In the heart of the Galactic Empire, the command center of the Imperial fleet was buzzing with routine activity. Officers moved quickly, screens flickered with reports, and the low hum of engines echoed through the corridors. Everything seemed normal, but that calm would not last long. Suddenly, a sharp alarm pierced the air. Red lights flashed across the control panels. The chief radar officer froze as his eyes widened. "Sir, we have an unidentified ship approaching our territory. No transponder. No signal. It just appeared." Admiral Varek, a tall man with a stern face, turned sharply from his chair. He had seen countless emergencies in his 30 years of service, but something in the officer's voice made him pause. "Explain," he demanded. The officer's hands trembled as he pointed to the screen. A single ship glowed faintly against the dark expanse. Its design was unfamiliar. Unlike anything the Empire had catalogued, it moved with precision and speed that seemed impossible. It is not on any of our charts. It just appeared, sir. No communications. It ignores our signals." Varek stepped closer, studying the image. His jaw tightened. The Empire had controlled this sector for centuries. No ship should have been able to slip in unnoticed. Panic began to rise in the room. "Prepare the scouts," Varek ordered. "Send the observation fleet. I want to know who, or what, this is." As the order was carried out, the mysterious ship continued to glide silently through the stars. It did not respond to hails. It did not change its path. It simply moved forward, as if it knew exactly where it wanted to go. In the observation fleet, the younger officers whispered among themselves. "Is it human?" one of them asked nervously. Humans had not been seen in this part of the galaxy for centuries. Most had thought the species extinct, or at least weak and scattered. The warship on the screen did not care about whispers or rumors. When the Empire scouts approached, trying to surround it, the ship reacted with incredible speed. In a flash, a bright pulse of energy radiated from it. One by one, the Empire ships vanished, disintegrating in seconds. Alarms blared as reports came in. The human warship had destroyed an entire fleet with barely any effort. In the command center, officers scrambled to comprehend what they were seeing. Some refused to believe their eyes. "Impossible," muttered one officer. "A single ship. It can't destroy our fleet like that." Varek's face was pale but controlled. He took a deep breath. "It seems we have underestimated humans," he said quietly, almost to himself. "Or perhaps we never understood them at all." Far away, in the cold darkness of space, the human captain sat in the bridge of his ship, calm, collected, and focused. His crew worked efficiently, following his silent orders. He had anticipated the Empire's response long before they even realized he had arrived. For centuries, humans had prepared quietly, building technologies the galaxy had never imagined. Now, the time had come to show their strength. The captain watched the Empire ships fall one by one, but there was no joy in his eyes. He did not crave destruction. He sought a message, a reminder that humans were not to be ignored, that the galaxy could not dismiss them as weak or irrelevant. Back at the Imperial fleet, panic spread like wildfire. Officers called in reinforcements, sending fleets from neighboring systems. Messages flashed to every planet under the Empire's control. Citizens looked up at the sky, wondering what this strange human ship was. Rumors spread. Fear grew. In a small observatory on the planet Viridian, a young technician recorded the approaching ship. His hands shook as he adjusted the view. He had never seen technology like this. The hull shimmered with a strange energy, the shape was sleek yet intimidating, and it moved as if alive. He whispered to himself, This is not just a ship. This is something else, something powerful." The Empire's leadership convened an emergency meeting. Holograms of the ship floated in the center of the room. Advisors argued, shouting over one another. Some demanded immediate attack. Others begged for caution. Varek listened, saying nothing at first. He studied the image, noting every movement, every detail. Finally, he spoke. We cannot underestimate this. We cannot act recklessly. Send another fleet, yes, but we must observe, learn, and prepare. Humans, they have returned. And they are not what we expected. As he left the council chamber, the alarms continued to ring. Outside, the stars remained silent witnesses to the unfolding event. The lone human warship moved steadily toward the Empire's heart, its purpose unknown. Its presence alone had shaken the greatest power in the galaxy. And somewhere deep inside that sleek, powerful vessel, the human captain stared into the darkness. The galaxy had forgotten humans, but humans had not forgotten the galaxy. And now, the Empire would learn that the forgotten could be the most dangerous of all. The red lights of the command center reflected on Varek's face as he watched the screens. The panic was just beginning. The galaxy had no idea what was coming. The Empire's leaders could not believe what they were seeing. Reports poured in from every sector. Every observation fleet sent to confront the human warship had been destroyed without mercy. Panic spread through the corridors of the Imperial Command Center like wildfire. Admiral Varek stood silently, his hands gripping the edge of the console. He had faced countless battles in his long career, but nothing like this. A single ship, just one, had turned the Empire's military might into dust. How is this possible? One young officer whispered, trembling. Varek did not answer. He did not need to. The look on his face said it all. The Empire was in trouble, and they had no idea what they were up against. Send more fleets, shouted a commander. We cannot let a single human ship destroy us. We have thousands of vessels at our disposal. Thousands. Another officer snapped. They were all destroyed. Every single one. Do you not understand? This is not just a ship, it is a weapon we cannot fight with normal tactics. The room went silent for a moment. The truth was impossible to deny. The Empire had underestimated humans. They had assumed that a lone human ship could never challenge their fleets. But the reality was far worse. Humans had adapted, evolved, and built something the Empire could not imagine. Meanwhile, in the cold void of space, the human warship glided silently, its engines glowing faintly. The captain watched the chaos unfold on his tactical screens. He did not celebrate the destruction. Humans had not come for conquest, at least, not yet. They had come to send a message: do not underestimate us. The Empire's panic spread beyond the command centers. On multiple planets, citizens watched news broadcasts in shock. Children clung to their parents as fleets fell in distant skies. Merchants abandoned their shops. Military academies scrambled cadets into emergency drills. Entire cities trembled under the fear of a power they could not see, could not fight. In the Imperial Command Center, Varek called an emergency council. Holograms of the human ship floated above the table, rotating slowly. Every officer leaned in, trying to understand its strange design. This ship, said one advisor, voice shaking, it is unlike anything we have in the Empire. Its energy output, its speed, it is far beyond our technology. We cannot attack it directly. We will lose everything. Varek's eyes narrowed. He had seen humans fight before, in history books, in distant legends. But he had never believed these tales would come true. Now, the stories were no longer myths. Humans had returned, and they had weapons the Empire could not counter. Prepare the elite fleets, Varek ordered. Send reconnaissance probes and observe. We cannot make rash moves. But we must understand this ship. Find its weakness. Back on the human warship, the captain observed the Empire's attempts carefully. Every movement, every deployment, every reaction was analyzed. He had predicted their panic, their mistakes, their arrogance. The human crew worked in quiet efficiency, adjusting shields, monitoring energy output, and preparing for any eventuality. The Empire sent message after message to the ship, but the human warship did not respond. Silence was its answer. It moved like a shadow, always one step ahead, always untouchable. The Empire's admirals grew frustrated. Some suggested desperate measures, even risking entire fleets for one attack. Others pleaded for patience. But fear dominated the room. In the distant reaches of the galaxy, scientists began to study fragments of energy left behind by the destroyed fleets. They discovered patterns that made them shiver. Humans had weapons that could neutralize entire squadrons in a single strike. Ordinary strategies would not work. Ordinary minds could not even imagine them. Back in the command center, Varek addressed the council. "This is no longer a simple threat," he said. "This is a reminder. Humans were forgotten, yes, but they were never weak. They are capable of more than we can understand. We must adapt, or we will fail." The officers exchanged uneasy glances. Some whispered to each other, "Is it too late? Can we survive this?" Fear had taken hold. The once mighty Empire was now trembling before a single human warship. Meanwhile, on the human ship, the captain looked out at the swirling stars. He knew the Empire would not surrender easily. They would try to attack again, perhaps with even larger fleets. But humans had prepared for this. Humans had waited for the right moment to reveal their strength. And now, that moment had arrived. The galaxy held its breath. Every system, every planet, every fleet waited to see what the human warship would do next. Would it attack? Would it retreat? No one knew. Only one thing was certain: the balance of power in the galaxy had shifted, and nothing would ever be the same again. As the Empire scrambled to respond, Varek stared at the glowing image of the ship on the main screen. He knew the truth now. The humans were not just survivors, they were something else entirely. Something the Empire had forgotten, and something they could no longer ignore. The panic had only just begun. The human warship moved silently through the void, its engines leaving a faint blue trail against the darkness of space. Inside, the captain stood on the bridge, calm and focused. Unlike the chaos in the Galactic Empire, the human crew worked with quiet efficiency. Every command, every calculation, every movement was precise. There was no panic here, no fear. Only preparation and purpose. The captain was not young, but his face carried the sharpness of experience and the weight of responsibility. His eyes scanned the holographic displays, noting the movements of the Empire fleets. They were strong, yes, but disorganized and predictable. He had expected this. He had anticipated their fear, their arrogance, their mistakes. Humans had waited a long time for this moment. Now, it was time to remind the galaxy why they could not be ignored. "Captain," one of the officers said, "the Empire has dispatched reinforcements. They are gathering near the Syndral sector. Estimates show at least 5 full fleets." The captain nodded, his expression unreadable. "Good. Let them come. They will learn quickly that numbers do not equal strength. Prepare the tactical arrays. Keep shields at optimum levels. Do not engage unless necessary." The crew moved like a single organism, adjusting energy flows, monitoring weapon systems, and scanning for threats. Though the Empire believed themselves the masters of the galaxy, they had no idea what they were up against. Humans had developed strategies and technologies the galaxy had long forgotten. It was not just about firepower, it was about intelligence, foresight, and adaptability. Back at the Imperial Command Center, Admiral Varek and his officers watched the human ship with unease. They had analyzed every movement, every pulse of energy, every pattern in the previous encounters. Yet nothing prepared them for the calm confidence the ship displayed. It was as if the vessel had a mind of its own, anticipating every attack before it even happened. One officer broke the silence. "Sir, we cannot understand it. How does a single ship act like this? It should be overwhelmed by our fleets, yet it moves freely, strikes with precision, and disappears. It's impossible." Varek did not answer immediately. He studied the glowing image of the human warship. He had seen battles, seen fleets destroyed, seen the galaxy's most cunning enemies. But nothing like this. It is not just a ship, he finally said. It is a statement. Whoever commands it is not just human. They are something else entirely. And we must be careful. One mistake, and we lose everything. Meanwhile, in the void of space, the human captain initiated a silent maneuver. The warship shifted direction, evading an incoming Empire probe with ease. The probe disintegrated in a flash of light before it could send data back. The captain's crew exchanged quick nods, acknowledging the success without celebration. They did not need it. Their mission was far from complete. The captain turned to his second-in-command. "Prepare the message," he said calmly. "The Empire must know we are here. They must understand their underestimation of humans has consequences." The officer hesitated. "A message? Won't that provoke them further?" The captain shook his head. "They are already provoked. This is not aggression, it is a reminder. Let them see our presence, our power, and our restraint. We do not seek unnecessary conflict, but we will defend ourselves if challenged." In the Empire's command center, the tension was rising. Reports continued to pour in from distant sectors. Citizens on faraway planets were panicking, fleets were regrouping, and the council was in constant debate. Some wanted to attack immediately, fearing the humans would strike again. Others urged caution, realizing that rushing in blindly would only lead to more disaster. Varek listened quietly, his face stern. "We cannot let fear guide us," he said. "We must learn, observe, understand. And if we must fight, we fight with knowledge, not anger. This human, whatever their plan is, we must prepare for it." On the human warship, the captain initiated communication protocols. A single, clear signal was sent to the Empire's central command. The message was simple, almost haunting in its brevity. "We are here. We are not your enemy, yet you cannot ignore us." Silence followed. The Empire's officers stared at the screen, stunned. The words were not a threat, but they carried weight heavier than any weapon. It was a challenge, a warning, and a reminder that humans were not the species they had assumed. In the captain's eyes, there was no malice, only resolve. Humans had survived centuries of neglect and underestimation. They had grown in strength, knowledge, and skill. And now, they had returned to claim their place in a galaxy that had long forgotten them. The Empire had been given a choice: recognize the humans, respect their power, or face the consequences of continued arrogance. But fear and pride were not easily overcome. As the human warship glided silently through space, the galaxy watched, waiting for the next move. And the captain? He simply watched the stars, calm and patient, knowing the Empire's panic would soon give way to understanding. Humans had returned. And the galaxy would never be the same. The news of the human warship spread faster than fire across the stars. On every planet under the Galactic Empire's control, citizens watched in fear as fleets were destroyed in distant sectors. Panic gripped the people. Markets emptied, schools closed, and families huddled together, whispering about the ghost ship that moved through the galaxy like a shadow. In the Imperial Command Center, Admiral Varek stared at the reports coming in. Multiple fleets had been sent, and every one of them had failed. One officer spoke urgently. "Sir, the human ship has destroyed 4 more fleets in the past hour. Entire sectors are reporting blackouts and destroyed satellites. Citizens are terrified. This is unprecedented." Varek ran a hand over his face, trying to hide his growing concern. "It seems the humans are not just attacking," he said quietly. "They are showing us something. A warning, perhaps. Or testing us. Either way, we cannot ignore it." Meanwhile, the human warship moved like a phantom through the Empire's territory. It was fast, precise, and untouchable. Every attempt by the Empire to trap it failed. Fleets were forced to retreat, their morale shattered. The human captain watched carefully, adjusting shields, monitoring energy output, and analyzing the Empire's tactics. On the planet Viridian, citizens crowded around viewing stations, watching live feeds from the fleets. Children clung to their parents as the ships vanished one by one on the holographic displays. The city's leaders struggled to maintain calm, but the panic was uncontrollable. People whispered, "How can one ship destroy all of them? Are humans gods?" Back in the Imperial Command Center, the Council argued fiercely. Some wanted to launch a full-scale assault immediately, sending every available fleet into the humans' path. Others warned that such a move would lead to total disaster. "We cannot fight a single ship with everything we have," one officer said. "We will lose billions of lives if we act hastily." Varek listened to the arguments. His mind raced, thinking through strategies, weaknesses, and possibilities. He knew the human ship was not acting recklessly. Every move it made was deliberate, precise, and calculated. This was not a mindless attack, this was a show of power, a lesson the Empire could not ignore. The human captain, aboard his warship, smiled faintly at the chaos below. Humans had learned patience, strategy, and intelligence over centuries. The Empire, powerful as it was, had forgotten the consequences of underestimating a species that had once been dismissed as insignificant. The captain initiated another silent maneuver. With a faint hum, the ship shifted direction, appearing in an area where multiple fleets were converging. The Empire admirals reacted immediately, ordering their ships to intercept. But it was too late. The human warship struck swiftly, disabling several capital ships in seconds without a single loss to itself. In the Imperial Command Center, alarms blared and lights flashed. Officers shouted orders over each other, but every plan failed before it could be executed. Varek's face was pale, but his mind was focused. He realized the humans were testing their limits, probing their reactions, and revealing the weaknesses of the Empire's strategies. On Viridian, civilians watched the news feeds in horror. Reports of destroyed fleets and disabled stations came in every few minutes. Children cried, and parents tried to soothe them, but even the adults could not hide their fear. The galaxy's strongest power had been humbled by a single ship, and the humans behind it remained unseen, untouchable, and calm. The captain's eyes scanned the galaxy. He knew the Empire would respond with greater force, but he was ready. Humans had prepared for this moment for generations. Every weapon, every tactic, every plan had been tested and perfected. The Empire could send thousands of ships, but one human warship, guided by centuries of knowledge and cunning, was more than enough. Varek convened another council. The room was tense. Officers whispered urgently. "Sir, the humans are showing no aggression toward planets," one said. "They are destroying fleets, yes, but they are not targeting civilian populations." "What do they want?" Varek's eyes narrowed. "They want to remind us of their power," he said. "They want us to see that we cannot control the galaxy as we once did. They are teaching us a lesson, and we must learn quickly." The human captain issued a single order. No words, no speeches, just calm and precise commands. Shields strengthened, weapon systems remained ready, and the ship glided through space like a silent predator. Every movement was deliberate, designed to maximize impact and minimize unnecessary destruction. As the Empire scrambled to respond, fleets moving in every direction, civilians and soldiers alike watched in awe and fear. The human ship had become more than a threat, it was a symbol. A reminder that the forgotten could rise, that the underestimated could dominate, and that the galaxy would never be the same again. And in the silence of the cosmos, the human captain looked ahead. He knew the Empire's panic would grow, that their arrogance would lead them to mistakes, and that humans would always be ready, calm, and stronger than they expected. The galaxy held its breath. Every planet, every fleet, every citizen waited to see the next move. The lone human warship was not just passing through, it had arrived to change the course of history. The human warship moved silently, almost like a shadow among the stars. The glow from its engines was faint, but powerful, signaling advanced technology the Empire could barely understand. The captain's eyes scanned the dark expanse of space, watching every movement of the Empire fleets below. He did not panic. He did not hesitate. Humans had prepared for this moment for centuries. In the Imperial Command Center, reports continued to pour in. Fleet after fleet had been destroyed or disabled, and the Empire's leaders were struggling to comprehend what they were facing. Officers whispered urgently, their voices trembling. "Sir, the ship, it has weapons we cannot identify. Every attack we make is countered before we can even strike." Admiral Varek stood silently, watching the glowing image of the human warship. He had seen many battles, many enemies, but nothing like this. "It is not just strong," he said quietly. "It is smarter than any fleet we have faced. One ship against thousands, and it moves as if it knows every plan before we make it." Back on the human warship, the captain issued a calm command. "Prepare the secret arrays. Activate the defensive protocols. Do not reveal everything yet." The crew moved efficiently, following his orders without question. The humans had built the ship not just as a weapon, but as a symbol of their ingenuity, patience, and intelligence. The Empire did not know it yet, but the human ship carried a secret weapon, technology so advanced that it could disable entire fleets without firing a single missile. This weapon was not about destruction alone. It was about control, strategy, and power that no empire had ever seen. In the skies above the planet Telvorn, citizens watched in terror as another fleet vanished almost instantly. Panic spread like wildfire. Markets closed, streets emptied, and families clutched each other in fear. News broadcasts repeated images of the human ship gliding through the stars, and the voice of the announcer trembled as he spoke. It's unstoppable. One ship destroyed our defense fleet in minutes. Citizens, remain calm, if you can." In the Imperial Command Center, Varek's officers argued loudly. "We must attack now," one shouted. "If we wait, more fleets will be destroyed." "No," Varek said firmly. "We do not know what this ship is capable of. We cannot risk our entire military blindly. Observe, learn, prepare. Only then can we act." The human captain watched the Empire's panic unfold with quiet satisfaction. He did not gloat, there was no need. The humans had waited for centuries, hidden their knowledge, and now their time had come. He had seen the Empire's arrogance for generations, and he would teach them a lesson they would never forget. With a soft hum, the warship shifted its position, moving closer to a fleet that had tried to regroup. Without firing a shot, the ship activated a subtle field of energy. The fleet's engines faltered, systems short-circuited, and in minutes, ships drifted powerless in space. The human captain's strategy was clear: demonstrate power, avoid unnecessary destruction, and ensure the Empire understood that humans could not be ignored. On Viridian, people watched the live feeds in awe and fear. A young technician whispered to himself, it's like the ship is alive. It thinks faster than anyone else." Around him, adults nodded silently. The human warship was no longer just a threat, it was a legend in the making. In the command center, Varek's expression grew serious. "This is beyond anything we have faced. One ship, hundreds of lives lost, fleets disabled. And we do not know its full capabilities." He paused, staring at the hologram. "We must assume it can do even more. We must find its weakness, or the Empire will crumble." The human captain did not stop. He monitored the Empire's fleets, calculating every possibility. The secret weapon was not yet revealed fully. There was still more to show, more to teach the galaxy about human ingenuity and patience. He had chosen restraint over rash action, and intelligence over brute force. The Empire would learn, but not before humans reminded them of their place in the stars. Suddenly, alarms flared across the human ship. A fleet was attempting a coordinated strike, aiming at the warship's weak points, or so they thought. The captain's eyes narrowed. Defensive arrays at maximum. Let them come. The Empire's ships launched, but the secret weapon activated. Without a single shot, engines and weapon systems failed. Fleets drifted silently, powerless in the void. The humans had shown their dominance without massive destruction, demonstrating intelligence, control, and efficiency. In the Imperial Command Center, silence followed the reports. Officers stared at the screens, disbelief and fear etched on their faces. The Empire had underestimated humans, and the consequences were clear. The captain watched the galaxy below, calm and unwavering. Humans had returned not to conquer blindly, but to remind the galaxy that the forgotten were never weak, and the underestimated could be unstoppable. The secret weapon was just a taste of the power humans held, and the lesson had only begun. The Empire was desperate. Their fleets had been destroyed one after another, their technology crippled, and their leaders humiliated. Panic had spread to every planet, every station, and every colony under their control. Citizens whispered of the human ghost ship that moved faster than anything the galaxy had ever seen, striking with precision, yet leaving an eerie calm in its wake. Admiral Varek paced in the command center. Sweat rolled down his temple, and his hands trembled slightly as he studied the latest reports. Entire fleets had been disabled in minutes. Thousands of ships lost, billions of credits in damage, and yet the humans had not attacked any population centers. "We cannot allow this to continue," he said, voice firm. "We must strike back with everything we have. Send the elite fleet. Every ship we can muster. If we fail again, we may not get a third chance." Orders were transmitted across the Empire at lightning speed. Ships were scrambled from all sectors, some half-destroyed and barely operational. Pilots and crews hurried to their stations, hoping against hope that sheer numbers could overcome the human warship. Meanwhile, the human captain watched the Empire's movements on the tactical display. The massive fleet approached, a sea of metal and firepower stretching across the stars. Hundreds of ships, organized and coordinated, ready to overwhelm any opponent. Yet, the captain remained calm. "Prepare the defensive protocols fully. Do not fire until instructed," he commanded. His crew moved like a single organism, adjusting shields, rerouting power, and monitoring every angle. The Empire's fleet arrived, a wall of warships ready for annihilation. Commanders shouted orders, trying to corral the human ship into a trap. "Focus fire," one yelled. "Destroy it before it can react." But the human ship was already one step ahead. With a faint hum, it shifted course, moving with impossible speed and precision. The Empire's ships opened fire, energy blasts lighting the void, but most of their weapons were deflected or disrupted by the human warship's shields. Some ships tried to flank it, only to be caught in a field that disabled their engines. Entire squadrons drifted helplessly as the captain guided his ship with uncanny accuracy. In the Imperial Command Center, officers gasped at the reports. "Sir, it's outmaneuvering us. Every attack fails before it even reaches them," one officer cried. Another whispered, "It's impossible. No single ship can do this." Varek clenched his fists. He had anticipated many threats, but nothing like this. The human ship was more than just powerful, it was intelligent, adaptive, and relentless. No fleet, no matter how large, could match its strategy. The battle continued for hours. Entire squadrons were neutralized without a single loss on the human side. The captain guided his vessel calmly through the chaos, disabling weapons, intercepting attacks, and demonstrating his full mastery of the ship. Every move was calculated, every strike precise. It was not brute force that defeated the Empire. It was strategy and foresight. In the midst of the chaos, a young pilot in the Empire fleet tried to attack from behind. His vessel fired a barrage, hoping to catch the human ship off guard. The captain noticed instantly. A simple adjustment in trajectory, a redirection of the energy field, and the fleet was neutralized. The pilot's ship floated powerless, a stark reminder of human superiority. On distant worlds, citizens watched the battle unfold through live feeds. Panic and awe mixed as entire fleets vanished before their eyes. The human ship was no longer just a threat, it was a symbol, a force that could not be ignored. Children stared at the screens in wonder, whispering to each other about humans who were stronger than anyone had believed. In the command center, Varek knew the truth. The Empire had reached the limits of its power. One ship, piloted by a human, had outsmarted the mightiest fleets the galaxy had ever seen. He could feel the weight of centuries of arrogance crashing down on him. "We cannot fight them with numbers alone," he muttered. "We must rethink everything, or we will fall." The human captain, calm as ever, finally addressed his crew. "The demonstration is complete. We have shown them our strength, but we do not seek unnecessary destruction. We have made our presence known. They will remember this day." The warship glided silently through the wreckage of the Empire's fleets. It was a single vessel against hundreds, yet it had prevailed. The galaxy had witnessed humans at their peak, patient, intelligent, and unstoppable. And far away, in the Imperial Command Center, Varek stared at the empty space where his fleets once were. He knew that the Empire had survived by chance, and that the humans were no ordinary threat. One lesson was clear: the galaxy would never underestimate humans again. The panic had reached its peak. The Empire was forced to retreat and regroup, but the memory of this battle would haunt them forever. The lone human warship had proven one undeniable truth: strategy, intelligence, and courage could defeat even the largest armada. The captain looked out at the stars, calm and unwavering. The galaxy had learned a lesson, but there was more to come. Humans were back, and they would not be ignored. The stars were calm again, but the galaxy was far from peaceful. The Empire's fleets lay scattered, crippled, and confused. The citizens of countless planets whispered rumors of a single human warship that had shattered the Empire's pride and fleets alike. Panic, awe, and fear mixed in every conversation. In the Imperial Command Center, Admiral Varek stood silently, staring at the holographic image of the human ship. His officers shifted nervously, unsure what to say. The Empire had been humbled. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy's greatest power faced an enemy it could not control or predict. Varek's voice broke the silence. "We must communicate. We must understand their intentions." He activated the long-range channels. "Open a direct line. Request parley with the human captain. We need to know why he is here, and what he wants." Far away, the human captain received the incoming transmission. He did not flinch. Calmly, he adjusted the ship's orientation and opened a secure channel. The bridge was quiet as the Empire's voice echoed through the speakers. "Human captain," Varek said, voice steady but wary, "we have seen your power. You have destroyed our fleets. You have brought panic to the Empire. State your purpose. Why are you here?" The human captain's eyes met the camera calmly. His voice was clear, firm, and commanding. "We are here to remind the galaxy that humans were never weak. You have forgotten us, dismissed us, and assumed we could be ignored. That was a mistake. We do not seek war, but we cannot be overlooked. Humanity has returned to claim its place among the stars." A hush fell over the Empire Command Center. Officers whispered among themselves. The captain continued. "We have shown restraint, yet we are capable of far more. The Empire must understand that arrogance and fear cannot guide your decisions. Treat us with respect, or face consequences you cannot imagine." Varek exhaled slowly, realizing the gravity of the moment. The humans were not seeking conquest, yet their strength and intelligence had shifted the balance of power in the galaxy. The Empire had survived the battle, but only barely. The lesson was clear: underestimate humans at your own peril. On the human warship, the captain turned to his crew. "We have delivered the message," he said quietly. "Now, we retreat, for now. Let them reflect. Let the galaxy remember that humans are here, and we will not be ignored." The ship glided silently into the darkness of space. Its presence alone had changed the course of history. The Empire would rebuild, but the memory of a single human ship defeating hundreds of their vessels would linger forever. Every fleet, every admiral, every citizen would remember this day. On distant planets, news broadcasts replayed the events over and over. People whispered about the mysterious humans, their intelligence, and their power. Some feared them. Others admired them. But everyone agreed on one thing: humans had returned, and the galaxy would never be the same again. Varek sat in his command chair, staring at the empty space on the screens where the human ship had vanished. He knew the Empire could not ignore this. They could rebuild fleets, repair stations, and fortify defenses, but one truth remained: humans were no longer the forgotten species. They were a force to be reckoned with. In the shadows of the galaxy, the human captain looked ahead at distant stars, calm and patient. Humans had returned not for war, but to reclaim their place and ensure the galaxy remembered them. The Empire had been warned, and the lesson had been delivered. Yet, there was more to come. The captain knew that this was only the beginning. Humans had waited for centuries to show the galaxy their strength, but their plans extended far beyond a single encounter. The seeds of change had been sown, and the galaxy would feel their presence for generations. As the human warship disappeared into the void, a single message echoed in the minds of the Empire's leaders: the forgotten are not weak, and the underestimated are unstoppable. The galaxy had witnessed the return of humanity. And though silence returned for a moment, it was the quiet before a storm that would reshape the very balance of power among the stars. The human captain's face appeared on the bridge screens one last time, calm and resolute. "We will return," he said, almost to himself. "And next time, the galaxy will be ready to face humans, not as forgotten, but as equals, or not at all." The stars stretched endlessly before him. The humans had proven their strength, delivered their message, and left a galaxy to ponder the meaning of their return. Panic had begun in the Empire, but respect and fear would follow. And somewhere, deep in the heart of the cosmos, the humans prepared quietly for the next chapter of the galaxy's story.